Hello and welcome to Friday's Granada Reports.
Hello, on the programme this evening.
Ali is beginning a new life in the northwest. More are following from Afghanistan after the Taliban takeover, with people like Jean happy to help.
I'd already been upset by seeing what's happening in Afghanistan, and they were asking for people to take people in, and I thought, it seems right.
Also tonight, failures at this maternity unit were linked with a series of baby deaths, but 6 years on, inspectors have just downgraded it to inadequate.
Exploring the Blitz Beach, what it can tell us about one of the most traumatic periods of our history.
Fed up with the fly tippers, how Khan, aged 14, is using his summer holidays to clean up his community.
Remember VHS tapes? Well, this shopkeeper has travelled 600 miles to rescue 20,000 of them.
And unfortunately, the clouds are gathering as we enter the weekend. The full weather forecast for the next few days is coming up later on in the programme.
Thanks for your company. First, it seems right. The words of the landlord from Lancashire, whose property will be used as a house to house a family fleeing chaos in Afghanistan. Hundreds of refugees are thought likely to come to the northwest over the coming weeks and months after the Taliban takeover.
And that means, of course, a growing demand for homes. Tonight, so we're meeting one family who are about to start a new life in our region. Tasha Kachiri has our top story.
Every dream that I have, I can achieve in this country. I've already seen it.
Ali and his family have been here a month. They left Afghanistan before the capital was taken over by the Taliban.
I used to be an interpreter for British forces in Afghanistan. We got to a point where we felt that it wasn't safe for us anymore, and especially when the Taliban started taking big cities and provinces in Afghanistan. To them, we're all traitors. We betray the country. They will definitely show no mercy to people who fought against them, and I was one of them.
Now he's waiting to start his new life here in Lancaster with his wife and daughter.
You get to a point in life where you have to make decisions that you don't like, and I had to make one of those decisions, leaving everything behind. It was the only choice that we had, to save myself, my family, and my daughter. And at the same time, my mind and my heart is still, back in Afghanistan with my family and my friends.
So here's the property, Sophie, and I'll show you around. Right.
Sophie finds houses for families like Ali's, but she says it hasn't been easy.
The housing situation's really tough, but I think, unfortunately, because of what's happening in Afghanistan, there's more interest now. I'm so relieved to find a house because it's been so hard up to now.
While it's been a lot of work, now more landlords are coming forward to help. People like Jean, who normally lets to students. She was getting ready for the start of term. Now her properties will be used to house Afghan families.
I'd already been upset by seeing the people trying to get on the plane and what's happening in Afghanistan, and they were asking for people to take people in, and I thought, it seems right. Lancaster and Morecambe are a welcoming town, and I am absolutely certain that they will be welcomed.
The people, they have shown really great love to us, to me, to my family since we got here.
As Ali starts his new journey here in the UK, he hopes that other families are able to be welcomed too.
I'm sure they're doing all they can to bring all those Afghans to the UK, but I just wish that they could speed up the process, because time is running out. Their lives are still in danger. We don't want anyone to be left behind in Afghanistan, those who serve with the UK Armed Forces.
Tasha Kachiri, ITV News, Lancaster.
Now, the maternity unit at the centre of the Morecambe-based scandal has been downgraded to inadequate by health inspectors.
Your major care failures were linked to at least 12 deaths of mothers and babies at Furness General Hospital between 2004 and 2012. Our correspondent, Rob Smith, is there. So what have the Care Quality Commission found, Rob?
Health inspectors didn't mince their words about what they found, a, quote, significant downturn in the quality of services and patients who deserved better care at this trust. And this maternity unit at Furness General, previously rated as good, downgraded to inadequate. Past improvements, inspectors say, have not been sustained, and that has led to a deterioration in the service, both to staff and to patients. And that's a big deal at this hospital, given the scandal in maternity care here, the failings in care here that were linked to deaths between 2004 and 2012, and then the improvements and the changes that were made after that. The Care Quality Commission say that they came in after concerns were raised to them, whistleblowing information was passed to them. They say that their report makes for disappointing reading.
And Rob, there are also concerns raised about services in other parts of the trust.
Yeah, this trust is made up of 3 hospitals, Furness General, the Royal Lancaster, the Westmoreland. Overall, it's been rated as requiring improvement. It'll now get support, effectively the NHS equivalent of special measures, people coming in to help make improvements. Inspectors had concerns about stroke care. They had concerns about the way risks were identified, the way that incidents were recorded, the way that they were learned from. They did say there were some improvements in some parts of the trust, but that was not replicated across the board. One South Cumbrian MP has told us what staff at the trust have been telling him.
They are exasperated. They want to focus on what they are passionate about and they are skilled at doing. And the last thing they want is, the potential restructuring and management changes and things that are potentially going to take their eye off the ball. And so my thoughts are very, very much with them, and I want to encourage them and express my support for them.
The Trust say that they know that there is clearly still work to be done. They have given us a statement where they say the safety of our patients and staff is our absolute priority, and we have already started making improvements to address the concerns raised, including creating dedicated stroke beds in our hospitals, appointing more colleagues in emergency care, and launching new electronic patient record systems in maternity. We will continue to work with our teams to make further changes to ensure we are delivering the safest and best care for our patients and their families. And they add that they know patients deserve better.
OK, Rob, thank you.
Well, next, and Lancashire and Cumbria are hoping to become the first counties to win the UK City of Culture title in 2025.
A record 20 places around the country want to host the Euro festivities, and the winner will be announced next May.
Bidders must prove that they can put culture at the heart of their plans to recover from the impact of the pandemic.
Well, I spoke to Rachel McQueen, the Chief Executive of Marketing Lancashire, earlier, and began by asking her what the county has to offer.
Lancashire is a place that makes things, there's innovation kind of in our DNA, and I just think it's an incredible county that people don't know enough about, and this is an amazing opportunity for us to kind of put us back on the map.
There are a record number of bids, 20 in total. Why focus on Lancashire as a county? Why not focus on one of Lancashire's cities? I mean, many would say they have a lot to offer on their own.
They do indeed, but we've been in this for quite a long time now. We decided to bid back in 2019, and we've always been clear that we wanted to bid as a county. And that's not to do any disservice to our amazing cities, but it's because we felt that the rural parts of Lancashire also deserved to be celebrated and also deserved to join in with a year of culture. And we didn't feel that the competition should be restricted just to cities. So we were the first people really to say we want to bid as a county, and we really believe that in actual fact, DCMS broadened the guidelines in order to be able to welcome bids just like ours.
The County Council had withdrawn support back in June, saying the £22 million needed was too great a financial risk. Presumably all those concerns or the worries have been ironed out somewhat.
There's some confusion as to how much financial commitment is actually required in order to put on a year of culture. So we actually managed to get the support of all of our local authority partners, in particular Blackpool, Blackburn and Preston, who came behind us to say, we really want to do this together. And so we believe that, we will put a very, very strong bid in when it comes to doing so later this year. I think it's January that the full bid goes in.
And what would success mean for Lancashire? Presumably is not just about putting the county on the map.
It's about levelling up in some respects. I mean, I think the amount of culture and money that's invested in culture by bodies like the Arts Council in places like Manchester and Liverpool is about £35 a head. In Lancashire, it's only £7 a head. So we've been underinvested in for quite a long time now, and I think that we're very keen to change that. We're also really confident that we have the ability, the capacity and the talent here to really put on a fantastic showcase.
More news, and a man arrested in Cheshire by police investigating the death of a man at the home of the entertainer Michael Barrymore has been released without charge. Stuart Lubbock died following a party at the house in Essex 20 years ago. Police say there's insufficient evidence to charge the 50-year-old man who was arrested in March. Mr Barrymore has always denied involvement in the death.
The protest has been held against controversial plans for a dual carriageway through Merseyside Parkland. It's the latest in a series of high-profile demonstrations by the group Save Rimrose Valley. In response, National Highways say they welcome the public's ideas for improving safety and the local economy, and at the same time minimising impact on the environment. And here's Lucrezia with the details of the ITV News at 6:30.
We'll bring you the latest from Kabul as thousands try in vain to scramble out of Afghanistan and flee the Taliban. Back home, how a convicted terrorist freed from prison could have been prevented from going on a stabbing spree just days after he was released. Plus, how summer saved our resorts, but our cities are still struggling. And a mother's determination, the woman finally reunited with a newborn baby after the long journey back from COVID. Join me for those stories and more at 6:30.
Now to the 14-year-old who set himself a summer holiday task which we think, quite frankly, he should be very proud of. Khan Adita lives in Toxteth in Liverpool and was fed up with fly tipping on a piece of land near his home.
Yeah, so with the help of neighbours, he's been cleaning up the area and now wants to turn it into a public garden. This report tonight comes from Victoria Grimes.
It's a time when many parents struggle to get their teenagers out of bed. But for Khan, there's more important things to do, like making his community a better place. The idea formed during time of school during lockdown.
Every day I was looking at this piece of land that was being fly tipped on, and it was really bringing me down, and in turn it was bringing the area down. It was, every week there's thousands of people turning up to worship at the mosque opposite the land. Of course, there's loads of people going to weddings at the community centre next to it, and thousands of people are seeing this land, and this street is their representation of L8 and Toxteth, and it's just bringing the area down.
Khan's lived here his whole life. Whilst making a film about the clean-up, he decided he wanted to help bring the community together as well. He's now hoping to turn this land into a garden for everyone to enjoy.
We're looking to have an allotment, lots of nice flowers, some bushes, a small water feature, which would be brilliant.
And the community are right behind him.
We do have about 4,000 people who attend the mosque every Friday as well, and it makes a difference to come out instead of seeing fly tipping or littering. You see some green garden, some flowers, and sometimes there's a lot of concrete already in this city, so we would love to see more green.
That will be very private space, so women can come here, just unwind with their children, do some gardening. This is therapeutic as well. That will be helping those women to come out of their shell and then integrate more with other communities.
Oh wow, that's brilliant. It's nice to see a place like this, which I've never thought of myself growing up here, which we could do something with. What were you doing on the mat over there?
Playing Lego.
And did you like playing Lego on the mat there?
Oh yeah. When you get a child who's doing something really positive, especially for the community, there's something really powerful about that, and people genuinely do stop and listen and then want to engage and help, and I think that's what's really happened with this project. It's just engaging the whole community, and I'm ever so proud.
And then is he as good at tidying his bedroom as he is at tidying up?
Well, should we invite the cameras in and you can judge for yourself?
What I would say to other people my age would be to do something different with your time. You know, what can you change about your area for the better?
Khan's now raising funds for the garden before he goes back to school in September. He's hoping it will come to life by the autumn. Victoria Grimes, ITV News, Liverpool.
Great pearls of wisdom at the end there from Khan, and great to see the community rally around the idea.
What a hero, Khan. Move over, Monty Don. I think he's got competition. Next tonight, uncovering the secrets of the Second World War along the region's coastline, Crosby to be exact. Many people may have seen the brick beach that stretches along the shore there, but many have no idea that it's actually littered with rubble from the Blitz.
One woman who was sifting through the site to try and put together a picture of pre-Second World War Liverpool. To Emma Marsh, the bricks represent an archaeological treasure trove. As part of our Tidal Tales series, Sarah Rogers has been to meet her.
It was war again, and Liverpool became the gateway to the western approaches.
The Merseyside coast was a key target during the Second World War due to its large port. The bombing moved from the boats to the buildings of Liverpool, the worst of it during the May Blitz of 1941. Almost 4,000 people were killed and 70,000 more made homeless. Somehow, what was left of those homes made it here, forming a huge road of rubble along the Crosby coastline.
It is quite an emotive landscape, I think. When I'm here, you can kind of feel the impact of World War II more so than I think you get from a history book, because it really is people's lives and houses.
Many visitors have no idea of the history right under their feet, but archaeologist Emma Marsh is trying to uncover its secrets.
Tell me about this piece that we're sitting right next to. So this piece here, this would have made up part of a cornice frieze which sits along the top of a building, probably something like a bank. It definitely would have been from the centre of Liverpool. So this one I found, and it was wrapped up with a bunch of other lino. Though it's never been put down, it's never been laid down. It was most likely stored in the warehouses on Liverpool docks that were bombed.
Emma's documented dozens of items and set up a project called Archaeo Beach. She's traced a gravestone to a local church and identified key areas as she tries to rebuild pre-war Liverpool.
It's not the most well-documented site. As you would have seen coming in, there is no signage here telling you what all this stuff is. So I really think it's important that it is documented. You get a feeling of as it would have been during the Blitz, like waking up and coming out to like streets of rubble. You can get that feeling when you're here.
She matches her finds against documents and photos in the hunt for clues. But Liverpool's devastation was captured in these incredible police photos currently on exhibition in the city. They may shed some light as to why the rubble ended up here.
They're taken on the spot at the time. And one of the main things that you'll notice looking at those photos is those collapsed houses, all of the damage that's been done. You can no longer see the streets. And obviously with the city being so important and with the workers needing to get to work, the first thing they have to do is clear the streets. And Liverpool wasn't alone in that they would take their bricks and their debris and to the outskirts of their city. It's a huge war memorial.
Is it quite fitting that it stays here as a bit of a reminder, do you think?
Oh, that's a question, isn't it? If you look at this from above, it's a big angry red slash on the coastline. And I think what's really sad is maybe that people don't realise what it is. And I think that people don't, maybe there would be a different level of respect if people knew what it was.
And there are so many stories yet to be revealed here as time and the weather eats away at the shoreline and the banks give way to much more of the city's wartime history. Can you imagine yourself still sifting amongst the rubble when you're a pensioner?
Definitely. If it's still here, I bet I'll still be coming. But it's so close to people's lives, these artefacts. I really feel that connection to like the lives of the past.
Each bit of rubble here represents a home, a workplace or a business, and with it, a life completely changed by war. Sarah Rogers, ITV News in Crosby.
So interesting, fascinating,
wasn't it? Yeah.
We'll have another one of those fascinating, incredible reports next Friday. You can catch up with any you've missed so far by going to our website.
Next, in the story of the man who loves videotapes so much he drove 600 miles to save 20,000 from being scrapped.
Yeah, I threw most of mine away a few years ago, but Andy Johnson is passionate about them and runs the country's only VHS rental store.
Well, he says he's on a mission to save us from streaming. Tim Scott's been to meet him.
3 sheds full of old VHS tapes may not be everyone's idea of a treasure trove, but for Andy Johnson, they're worth their weight in gold. They belong to a collector in Scotland, and Andy, who runs possibly the last video store in the country, hightailed it from Liverpool to Dundee and back.
I don't think most of these have been watched in years because, you know, they're just completely covered in dust, and they were literally opened those doors to the sheds and they were stacked loosely floor to ceiling in thousands. It took us hours just to get to the back of the shed.
But it begs the question though, what was he actually doing with them?
Well, I think it's like anything, when you collect something and it gets to a certain size, you lose control of the collection and it can't be in your house and it has to go somewhere else.
Andy now has to sort through the huge haul of tapes and catalogue the lot. His store in Toxteth has proved a big hit with people who can't get enough of the old VHS tapes and the machines to play them on.
This place is really some kind of Aladdin's cave. We've got the old TV sets, we've got the rows and rows of videotapes. It really is a trip back in time. But VHS tapes, the picture was terrible, the sound was terrible, and half the times the machine would chew them up. What is the attraction?
I mean, there is always that idea of it being a little bit fuzzy and the little glitches that you used to get. But I find people are really enjoying that now. It's part of the nostalgia of getting a tape out of the box and the magical sorcery that was, you know, you stick this little tape into another thing. Sometimes you have to clunk it down and then it appears on the screen, and there's just something warm and magical about that.
Some people are going to be watching this thinking, I've got 500 tapes in my loft, I'm going to dump them on Andy. What, are you going to take more tapes in?
Well, I'd like to say when nobody who knows me is around that, you know, I don't say no to tapes. So from September onwards, when we're getting for a big reopening, ready for a big reopening here, then yeah, come and see what we've got. And then if you wanted to bring us more tapes, then yeah, we're glad to take donations.
Well, who'd have thought that in these days of streaming and downloads, old VHS tapes could mean so much. Tim Scott, ITV News, Liverpool.
The revival of her videotapes. Let's see. Joe's got the weather.
That sunshine really made your eyeshadow pop, you know? And you put the wipe in the bin, not the toilet.
United Utilities sponsors ITV Granada weather.
Go ahead, Queen.
Thank you. Very good evening to you. Welcome to the weekend. Unfortunately, the clouds are gathering now. Some rain moving in tonight, and a bit heavy that rain to start Saturday before it turns to thundery downpours during tomorrow afternoon. A gradual improvement during Sunday, and by Monday, high pressure firmly in control. So next week, some better weather in sight at last. But back to the details then for tonight and certainly tomorrow. Front moves in, bringing a spell of rain, followed hot on the heels by some thundery downpours. Sunday slowly getting better, and as you can see, that high pressure building in by the time we get to Monday, and it's with us for much of next week. So looking really positive with some sunshine to look forward to at last. But back to this evening, cloudy, misty, murky, and then a more organised band of rain moves up from the southwest as we go through the night, pushing across most places before dawn, 1 or 2 heavy bursts. Temperatures are on the mild side though tonight, 14 or 15 Celsius, quite a blustery wind, especially for western coasts. On to tomorrow, the sun will be rising at 5:59, setting at 8:28 tomorrow evening. Tomorrow, quite a wet start to the day. Pulses of heavy rain through the morning begin to shift northeastwards and away during the course of the afternoon, but they will be replaced by heavy thundery downpours. So we have a warning in place from the Met Office for those. There'll be lots of surface water and spray on the roads where you find them, and the risk of some localised flooding. Improving though from the southwest as we get into tomorrow evening, maybe some late brightness. 18 or 19 Celsius tomorrow, showery during Sunday but drier later on as that high pressure builds in. And next week looking much better for you.
United Utilities sponsors ITV Granada weather.
Those eyebrows are unreal.
nice weather again, finally.
Looking forward to next week. We're back slightly later tonight at 10 to 11.
Usual address, itv.com/Granada for the usual latest news. Bye for now, have a good weekend.